Many people do the right things during the day, only to feel confused when blood sugar seems harder to control at night. Dinner often feels harmless, especially when the food looks healthy and portions aren't excessive. Yet nighttime is when small habits matter the most. As we get older, the body handles evening meals differently, and certain dinner routines quietly push blood sugar higher while we sleep. Today, we'll look at 5 small dinner mistakes that worsen nighttime blood sugar, starting with one that many people overlook. Mistake number 1. Eating dinner too late, even when the food is healthy. One of the most common assumptions we make is that timing doesn't matter as long as the food is healthy. If dinner is balanced, homemade, or lower in sugar, it feels safe to eat whenever the day finally slows down. For many adults over 40 or 50, this habit quietly works against nighttime blood sugar. As the evening progresses, the body naturally becomes less sensitive to insulin. This means glucose stays in the bloodstream longer than it would earlier in the day. When dinner happens late, even a reasonable meal can cause blood sugar to remain elevated well into the night, precisely when the body should be resting and repairing. This doesn't always show up immediately. Instead, it appears the next morning as higher fasting numbers, restless sleep, or waking up feeling heavy and unfocused. The connection to dinner timing is easy to miss because nothing about the meal itself felt extreme. The solution isn't skipping dinner or drastically cutting portions. It's giving the body more time to process food before sleep. Shifting dinner slightly earlier, even by 60 to 90 minutes, can make a noticeable difference. When that isn't possible, keeping the meal simpler and avoiding prolonged eating helps reduce the load on nighttime metabolism. Over time, this adjustment allows blood sugar to settle before bed. Sleep improves, morning readings feel more stable, and the body starts responding better without changing what we eat, only when we eat it. Mistake number 2. Starting dinner with refined carbs. For many people, the first few bites of dinner are almost automatic. Rice, bread, noodles, or potatoes often come first simply because that's how the plate is arranged. This small habit feels harmless, yet it has a surprisingly strong effect on nighttime blood sugar. When refined carbs are eaten at the beginning of a meal, glucose enters the bloodstream quickly. At night, when insulin sensitivity is already lower, this early surge can be harder for the body to manage. Blood sugar rises faster than needed, and it stays elevated longer than it would if the same foods were eaten earlier in the day. What makes this mistake tricky is that the meal itself may still be balanced overall. Protein and vegetables are present, but they arrive too late to slow down the initial spike. The body reacts to the order of foods, not just the total amount. A simple adjustment can change this response without altering the menu. Starting dinner with protein, fiber, or vegetables helps slow digestion and moderates how glucose enters the bloodstream. Even a few bites of protein or vegetables before carbohydrates can soften the spike. Over time, this habit helps blood sugar rise more gradually and settle sooner at night. It doesn't require restriction or counting, just awareness of how meals begin. By changing the order, not the food, nighttime blood sugar becomes easier to manage. Mistake number 3. Thinking a light dinner means skipping protein. Many adults are told to eat lighter dinners as they get older, and that advice is often misunderstood. Lighter is taken to mean less food overall, which frequently turns into a plate dominated by carbohydrates with little protein. While this may feel easier to digest, it can quietly worsen nighttime blood sugar. Protein plays a stabilizing role in evening meals. It slows digestion, supports satiety, and helps prevent rapid glucose rises. When protein is missing, carbohydrates are absorbed more quickly, increasing the likelihood of blood sugar spikes during the night. This mistake often comes from good intentions. People want to avoid heaviness, discomfort, or poor sleep. Unfortunately, reducing protein too much can lead to the opposite effect. Blood sugar becomes less stable, hunger returns sooner, and late-night snacking becomes more tempting. A light dinner doesn't need to be protein-free. Smaller portions of easily digested protein, such as fish, eggs, tofu, or yogurt, provide balance without overloading the system. The goal isn't fullness, but steadiness. When protein is included in modest amounts, the body handles carbohydrates more smoothly. Blood sugar levels rise more slowly, stay more controlled overnight, and support better sleep. Instead of removing protein, adjusting the portion often creates the lightness people are actually looking for. Mistake number 4, consuming hidden sugars without realizing it. Many people feel confident about their dinner choices because they don't eat dessert or sweet foods at night. On the surface, the meal looks safe, yet blood sugar still rises more than expected, and the reason often lies in sugars we don't consciously count. Hidden sugars appear in places we rarely question, especially at dinner. Sauces, marinades, salad dressings, and packaged seasonings often contain added sugars meant to enhance flavor. Even small amounts, when consumed consistently at night, can push glucose higher during a time when the body is least prepared to handle it. This mistake is subtle because it doesn't feel like eating sugar. A savory meal doesn't trigger the same caution as a sweet snack, so the impact goes unnoticed. Over time, these small additions become part of a nightly pattern, keeping blood sugar elevated longer than necessary. The solution isn't eliminating flavor or eating bland food. It starts with awareness. Reading labels, using simpler seasonings, or preparing sauces at home allows us to control what's added. Even slightly reducing the amount can change how the body responds overnight. Once hidden sugars are reduced, many people notice more stable nighttime levels and better sleep. Nothing dramatic changes on the plate, but the body feels less stressed. Blood sugar improves not because dinner is perfect, but because unnecessary extras are quietly removed. Mistake number 5, sitting or lying down immediately after dinner. Even when dinner choices are reasonable, what happens afterward can quietly undo much of the benefit. Many people finish eating and move straight to the couch or bed, especially at night when energy is low. This habit feels harmless, but it affects how the body handles glucose. After a meal, muscles play an important role in absorbing glucose from the bloodstream. Light activity encourages this process. When we remain completely still, glucose lingers longer in the blood, increasing nighttime levels. This doesn't mean exercising or turning evenings into workout sessions. In fact, intense movement late at night can disrupt sleep. What helps most is gentle, low-effort movement. Standing, walking slowly, tidying up, or taking a short stroll allows muscles to assist with glucose uptake naturally. The timing matters. Even 10 to 15 minutes of light movement after dinner can significantly change how blood sugar behaves overnight. It gives the body a chance to process the meal before fully transitioning into rest mode. Over time, this small habit improves the body's evening rhythm. Blood sugar settles sooner, digestion feels smoother, and sleep becomes more restorative. The key isn't doing more, but avoiding complete inactivity when the body still needs support. Sometimes staying upright a little longer is all it takes to make dinner work with us instead of against us. Small dinner habits matter more than we think, especially at night when the body is less flexible. By adjusting timing, portions, food choices, and what happens after the meal, nighttime blood sugar becomes easier to manage without extreme changes. If this was helpful, stay with us and watch our next videos for simple, practical health tips that support a healthier life as we age.